Okay, so we're here to talk about getting ready for the sale of a business. So I'm a business owner, been running my business for a few years, built up a fairly good business, and suddenly someone comes along and offers me a lot of money for it, a pretty good amount of money. What's the problem? What sort of issues would that be?
I think first and foremost, just really getting to grips with how much there is to do. So it's easy to say, I've got an offer, we've been through some negotiations, maybe we've even agreed heads of terms. I think unless you've honestly been through that situation, you've got no idea what's coming. I mean, it's a lot. You think about things like financial due diligence, you might think about legal due diligence, and you'll be thinking, well, I've got a solicitor to help with that. But you're going to be really heavily involved in that process. At the end of the day, the solicitor can decode the terminology of the questions that are going to be thrown at you, but you've got no idea how many questions are coming. There's so much coming your way as a business owner. There's operational due diligence, there's commercial due diligence. If you've not been through it, think about how pressured it might be, all the questions you might have thrown at you. And then I would just say times it by 10, because that's pretty much, that's how it feels with financial due diligence. And when you bring it all together, the pressure on the owner is a lot. So yeah, just there is so much to think about. It feels great if you're a business owner and you think, yes, I've built up this amazing business and I'm getting offered this amount of money. Is that offer still going to be on the table when you get to the end? Hopefully it is. But there's a lot to do, and there's great benefit in being really well organised.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So it sounds like there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Exciting time for the business owner, but sounds like it's probably very stressful as well. And that offer of X amount isn't necessarily guaranteed depending on what comes up. So, okay, lots to think about for the business owner. What can they do to start getting it right? Once they've got that offer, what are the first things they need to think about?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to know that when you start the process, you have to be ready. A lot of business owners will think, oh yes, we can be ready for due diligence or whatever. Don't have holidays planned. Due diligence doesn't stop just because you've got a holiday planned. It doesn't stop at 5:30. The emails keep rolling in. You're probably going to have to do things, over the weekend. Think about who's going to know. And you talked a bit about pressure and stress there. You may have one owner, you may have 2 or 3 owners. Hopefully between you can spread the load a bit. But when we talk about the finance team as well, think about who's going to know about the deal. Have you maybe got a bookkeeper and a finance manager? Well, how are you as a business owner, if you're not the finance person, how are you going to get all that financial due diligence answered if you're not going to tell your finance manager, your most senior person, about the deal? So there's a little bit of planning involved there internally. Then in terms of external parties, you absolutely need professionals. So you're going to need a solicitor who's able to work in that area. They've got a department who deal with this kind of thing. And again, an accountant such as Kirk Rice, who can be preparing you and guiding you through the process. Because if you're not ready and you don't have those professionals ready to run with you, the delays are going to be huge. And in this situation, if you're selling a business and you're about to go through that process, you just can't afford delays. It's going to be really costly. And the person buying the business may say, okay, well, we're going to do it in this time frame. And you may think, oh yeah, naively, we'll get that done in this time frame. But actually, if you're really not ready to roll and you're not organised, it will be very costly. And at the end of the day, your deal may fall through. Whereas if you had organised yourself properly, got the right guidance, got professionals involved, it could be a real success story.
Okay, so yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things to think about. Got to get the professional advice in fairly early. Got to have those conversations with your team in so far as you can, because obviously there's the confidentiality, and you don't want to be spreading it around the whole team that there's potential of sale there.
Yeah.
So, how can Kirk Rice help? What can Kirk Rice do when we bring in Kirk Rice to help support in that financial due diligence?
I think really Kirk Rice, as Kirsty says, you need those professionals. There's no way about it. You need professionals to help you guide through this process. As Kirsty says, there is a lot to do, and a lot to do on all fronts, like you say, financial, operational, commercial, legal. There's a lot there, so you do need to speak to professionals straight away, and get that ball rolling ultimately. But really, we can work with you so closely with this sort of process. Quite often there will be information requests that come through quite often, quite rapidly, quick turnarounds, where you want a dedicated team really as at Kirk Rice to be working on it. And be involved in it in so much of the detail to really get you where you need to be. There will be things you've already got that you can pull together. You know, they'll want year-end accounts, they'll want management accounts, VAT returns, all of those sides of things. But then there's other things you won't have even thought about, or forecasts and budgets you need to put together. There's a lot there, and we've really got the experience of dealing with these deals to know what priority to do it in, how much resources you need to put aside for it, how much time you need to put aside for it, in order to get you through in the smoothest way possible. Yeah.
Just to add to that as well, just going back on the point of, you know, internally you've thought about who in your finance team within the business will know about this. Remember that with a small finance team, you may be telling the most senior person, but they've still got a job that they were doing full time. And now their full-time role is probably going to be answering financial due diligence questions. And that can often put a lot of pressure on somebody who may feel like, well, they don't necessarily know what's happening with their role as well, if another company's coming in and buying them out. So huge amounts of pressure on that person, maybe not really knowing where the end point is. So to be able to bring in some support so that person's not falling over, the longer that these processes go on, the more time that owners and internal finance people spend on not the day-to-day running, other things fall over. There's a concentration on the deal and not such a concentration on, you know, keeping the business actually going. So the support can be on both sides, really. Like I say, typically you may only be telling the most senior finance person, but that person's now got 2 jobs to do, which is incredibly stressful for them.
I guess in some situations you might not have an internal finance team. It might be that, say, Kirk Rice is already doing your bookkeeping and everything, so that probably helps to alleviate some of that. Bex, you mentioned one of the things they might ask about is management accounts, presumably to be able to see trends and history. What if you don't have management accounts? What sort of issues could that cause?
Yes, sometimes you'll get in the due diligence requests, obviously asking for management accounts so they can see what's happened, see the results over a period of time, and usually it's quite a few years back that they want the information on. So sometimes it may be a case that if you haven't got that in place, you're then creating reports at that point in time, and obviously that can be quite time consuming if you haven't already got those in place. So you have to think, actually, there are some things that you can just give to them. Like we were saying, if you do have management accounts, you'll have VAT returns, you'll have year-end accounts that are all compliant and you have to have them. But there is quite often a focus on creating information and them asking questions left, right, and centre where you need to pull information from various sources, and that could be a combination of finance information, but then talking to the operational team, it could be revenue by customer or revenue by geographical location, where you need to pull a lot of information from different places to get them the information that they want. So it can be quite time consuming creating things, but that's where you need a team behind you supporting you.
To do it quickly, because
Yes.
sometimes, as you'd mentioned, it may be that a business doesn't usually focus on, revenue by geographical location, but it might be important for the buying business why they want to look at that. And so that is a creation rather than collation, as we call it, to get that done. And ideally, you would have had that done up front. You might have got some initial questions, and the team asking you the questions might have said, okay, well, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to start this process, and you really need this information. So ideally, the quicker you've had a conversation with somebody like us, is for us to go, well, do you have that? No. Okay, well, how could we get it? Where do we get that from? Do your team even have it? Do you have software where it is? Do we need to talk to the software company about getting that data out? All of these things to actually get it, because nobody wants to wait. No. Nobody wants to wait for the answer. So speed is crucial.
Definitely.
And then making sure that it's reviewed and sanity checked so that it's accurate as well.
Okay, so it sounds like if you were thinking of selling your business in, say, 5-10 years, it would make sense to start getting management accounts now. So you've got them in place. You don't have to spend all this time recreating the wheel at the 11th hour.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be thinking about it before you get to that point, kind of teeing up, so to speak, so that you're ready as you can be in that position.
And the other thing that is quite an obvious thing, so management accounts is an obvious thing to get asked. The other thing is what we'd call normalised EBITDA. So let's say the last couple of years your business has gone through some, I don't know, one-off scenario, one-off restructure or one-off...
COVID.
Yes, COVID or something like that, which has been really exceptional. It's good to have management accounts where actually we can work with the business owner as we go through periods and say, okay, what was normal? Yes, this is normal. Oh, this isn't normal. Okay, well, maybe we should keep that somewhere else in the report. We should be keeping a list of the things that have been exceptional and why they're exceptional. They have to be truly exceptional. Yeah. Obviously, they're not just something that happens every now and then and you say, well, that's exceptional. If it happens regularly, it's not exceptional. It's not exceptional by definition. But keeping a note of things like that, and actually, you're preempting the questions then, and then it's a much quicker process. Like I said right at the beginning, there is so much to do. You don't really have time to stop. It's very costly to stop and have to create things from scratch. So if you are a business who's thinking of selling in the future, maybe the next sort of 3 to 5 years, management accounts is absolutely the minimum. Regular reporting.
But just thinking, what other information might they want? As you were saying, sales by region, sales by customer type, anything that might be beneficial to a buyer that might want it, having that information already there ready, so you don't have to go back and figure it out later. Yeah. Or having a way that you can at least pull that information out.
Yeah.
So that all sounds great. What is the best situation that you can have with Kirk Rice being involved? What's the ideal end solution? I guess it's having that sale go through in a timely manner without any stress and getting the money.
Hit the nail on the head, yes. That it all goes through smoothly. But really having that support the whole way through, that it is, and as Kirsty says, things do need to be timely. There's a lot of pressure on time to get things through. So get into the position where you are delivering information as and when is needed. on top of it, in control of it, so you're not feeling like you're behind, supporting, the business owner, also the finance staff through the, whether that's with the due diligence or whether that's just normal support to get their day-to-day work done. And really having a smooth, streamlined process as much as possible so you can get to the position where that deal is done. We've got over the line, and it was all worth it, all of that work up to it, of pulling and collating and creating information and answering all the questions, has got to the end goal that you wanted to with selling.
And is that the final point? Once you've signed on the dotted line, got the money through, there's nothing else to do afterwards?
Well, there's usually then a afterwards you'll have completion accounts, which is then the next part of the deal. So you sign that dotted line, as you say, and you think, yay, pop the champagne, everyone's happy. And then there are completion accounts that need to be done in order to kind of complete the whole deal. So you then do need that support after you've signed on the dotted line to get those over the line as well. So there's that end result, really.
Right. Sounds like there's a lot involved and a lot of planning needs to go into it years in advance.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right. Sounds great. Yeah, brilliant. Anything else you want to add to it?
I think it's just a great feeling, isn't it? At the end, you're talking about the sort of champagne moment.
Just relief.
A real success story actually, when you've got a great solicitor, a great accountant, a great business, and somebody's very happy to come in and buy that. And it's just about keeping it all running really smoothly, getting the owners the right guidance, and everybody coming away feeling happy, and minimising any delays.
And everyone's got a good deal out of it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Definitely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks.